I'm Kate, 54 years old. According to my sister-in-law, I'm privileged, a person who doesn't know the struggles of ordinary people. I'll talk about that later. My husband is Aaron, also 54, the same age as me. We both work full-time during the week. We don't have any children. The reason my sister-in-law says I'm privileged and don't know the struggles of ordinary people is because the house I live in is in a very good location. It's near Chinatown in San Francisco. My grandfather built a house on his land, which my parents took over, and when they passed away, my husband and I moved from our apartment to live there. The sister-in-law who says you're so privileged is 46 years old, 8 years younger than me. This sister-in-law often comes to visit our house. Leaving her husband and 12-year-old child at home, she travels 2 hours from her home to visit us once every 3 months over the weekend. She says she likes Chinatown. This sister-in-law was born when my husband was in elementary school and he said she was small and cute. It seems that her parents loved her very much because she was born late. It must be nice, growing up in such a place without any struggles. She says this with a sense of inferiority. I was born in the countryside, so there were no places to play. You must have grown up comfortably without knowing such struggles. She clearly doesn't have friendly feelings towards me. But she seems to like Chinatown and comes to visit this house. Of course, she doesn't bring any gifts. Even if I bring a gift, you'll make fun of it because it's from the countryside. That's her reason. My sister-in-law comes empty-handed and says, "It must be nice, being so close to Chinatown. You don't have any struggles. You can live without a car. We country folks can't live without a car, so we have transportation costs. But your place is nice too, isn't it? I like it. The air is clean and the people around are kind." When I say this, what's that? Are you being sarcastic? She says things like that. I don't go out to play that much, because I work during the day. If I say this, you're really sarcastic. You want to say, unlike where you live, we're close to tourist spots, don't you? That's what she says. I want to say, who's being sarcastic? I've complained to my husband about her harsh words. My sister speaks her mind. She's straightforward. But he didn't take me seriously. So, in the midst of all this, I heard that my sister-in-law was building a house. She told me when she came to visit again. Really? Where? Sister-in-law said, it's obviously near our house. We bought the land ourselves. We didn't have it from the start like you. So there's no way we could buy such a good location. Rich person like you is nice. I was already irritated by her constant remarks, so I asked. So, how should I speak so that you don't feel like I'm being sarcastic? Why don't you just keep quiet? Everything you say sounds sarcastic. She said. I can't do anything but keep quiet. I was completely excluded from the conversation. Since then, she comes to visit but doesn't say a word to me. But she comes. She comes more often than before. Because my husband allows it. Hey, wait a minute. Your sister comes to our house but ignores me. She uses our bath. She eats our food. But I'm ignored. I tried saying this to my husband. Then? That's what I'm saying, she's straightforward. You don't have to talk either. She leaves her husband and child at home so we don't have to worry about them, right? So neither of us has to worry about each other. Even so. Today, she went out to explore San Francisco on her own, came back, used the bath as she pleased and went to bed. And the next day, she silently ate the breakfast I prepared and not even a word of thanks. Is this a hotel? Am I a hotel chef? So, 3 months later, my sister-in-law came again. It seems like she's going sightseeing in San Francisco today. But after that, she talked with my husband all night. She stayed overnight and left, but my husband was excited and showed me lots of pictures. Hey! Look at this. This is the house my sister built. Oh, the house was built. This? You'll love this when you see it. What he showed me was a pure white building. It certainly looked new. Isn't this amazing? My husband showed it to me with excitement. Huh? I tilted my head. At first glance, it looked like a garage. But looking at the mop in the picture with it, it was clear that it wasn't big enough for a car. Huh? Is this? That's right. Isn't it amazing? My husband shouted proudly. It's a motorcycle garage. And it's custom made. Now my Harley can fit in there. What? I was stunned. That's what I'm saying. My Harley can fit in there. I don't understand. But this is your sister's house, right? No, we've been talking about it for a while now. Let's exchange houses. What? I was surprised by the unexpected reply and development. I dropped the plate I was holding. My sister has been saying for a while now that she likes the location of this house and wants it. I've been saying that I don't like this house because it's old and has been around since your parents' time. So my sister said, then let's build a new one and exchange houses. So I had her build a special motorcycle garage so that my Harley could fit in. Wait. What? What is this? Without any consultation. I don't want to move out of this house. I don't really care about the other person's house. Or rather, I can't keep up with that much thinking. My husband started to get irritated, perhaps because my opposition was unexpected. From my point of view, his unexpected face was unexpected. Wait. What are you hesitating for? My sister and I have been discussing this for a long time. I understand that, but I didn't hear anything. I was being ignored. But think about it, there's only benefits. There's a motorcycle garage. Wait a minute, what about my position? Your hobby is watching suspense dramas, right? There's a TV in that house too. It's true that my husband's hobby is motorcycles. He cherishes his Harley Davidson as much as his life. Compared to that, I didn't have any particular hobbies, and if I had to say, I liked watching suspense dramas like Criminal Minds and A24 on TV. But, commuting. You just have to spend a little more time on the bus and train. That's not a little, it's an extra 2 hours. I can commute on my Harley. You should spend about 2 hours commuting. You've been gaining weight lately, so you should go on a forced diet. There's a limit to forced dieting. How painful it would be if it became a daily routine. But my husband's head was full of the new house and the dedicated garage to store his Harley. Just because I was lingering over this old house, he seemed to be getting really angry because it was unexpected and annoying. Finally, my husband resorted to drastic measures. I'll give my house to my sister and her husband. I'll get a new house with a motorcycle garage. I don't see any reason to refuse. If you refuse, we're getting a divorce. He started saying things like that. Huh? Divorce? Did you just say divorce? Are you going to push me that far? I thought. Okay, just give me one night to think about it. That was all I could say. I crawled into bed and I think I was in shock for about 2 hours. A house with a motorcycle garage seems like it was built for my husband. My sister-in-law doesn't have a motorcycle at her house. That means she built the house with the intention of taking over from the beginning. But when I thought about it, my husband who agreed without thinking was also at fault. And then, he decided on the deal without consulting me and said, if you refuse, we'll get divorced. This is clearly threatening. I won't forgive him. So I spent the next 8 hours until morning researching various things on my smartphone. The next day, I agreed to move out. I'll pack up, so wait 2 weeks. I have work on weekdays too. I added a condition. And one more thing. My sister-in-law and her husband can't move in until after we've moved out, right? I said. Well, yeah, and I want to hand it over in good condition as a thank you for making the garage, so can we hand it over after another 2 weeks? We'll have it cleaned by professionals and hand it over. My husband understood. I made 2 phone calls when my husband wasn't around. The 2 weeks flew by. My husband was happily packing his things, muttering, Harley, Harley. He was deciding on the furniture layout while asking my sister-in-law on the phone, how wide is that room? It seems there were also calls from her about the floor plan. Since they are moving from their current apartment, even 4 weeks of preparation for the move is quite short. They seem to be busy preparing for the move. And then, moving day. Hello? We're a white moving company. The movers arrived. Oh, please come in, this way. My husband invited the movers in. But immediately after that. Hello? We're a brown moving company. Another moving company arrived. What? My husband exclaimed. I slipped past my husband and said. Oh, please come in, this way. I invited the movers in. Wait a minute. What's going on? My husband yelled. What do you mean what's going on? I told you, didn't I? That it's okay to move. So let's move separately to our new homes. Movers, the items with yellow colored tape are the ones I want you to move, so please take them this way. The rest goes to Brown Moving Company. I briskly gave instructions. And an hour later. Well, that's it. Thank you for everything. I'll send you the divorce papers later. Wait a minute. My husband shouted in a panic. You said you wanted a divorce, didn't you? I left my husband behind and quickly left the scene in a taxi I had called. I got in the taxi, but it only took a few minutes to get to where I was going. Good work. The person waiting for the taxi came over to me. It was my brother Noah. My brother had come to help me move. Well, it's good that you found a house in 2 weeks. It's a rental though. You can look for an apartment or something once things settle down. You've had quite a misfortune. Misfortune is an understatement. For now, I've marked the necessary items for living like a rice cooker with yellow tape, so I'll manage somehow here. My brother helped me move. Even though the movers arranged the large items, I needed a man's help for the small details. I was saved. With my brother's help, the move was completed within the day. Well, then, call me again in 2 weeks. My brother left. Now, about the 2 weeks later, my brother mentioned. That is, 2 weeks after the day I moved. My phone rang. As expected. Hello? The voice on the other end was my sister-in-law. What's going on? I just listened silently. The house is gone. I looked down, suppressing a laugh. It was hard not to make a sound. It's just a vacant lot. Why are you silent? Because you told me to be quiet, didn't you? My sister-in-law screamed. I finally burst out laughing. It seemed that my sister-in-law and my husband were together. The phone was handed over to my husband. Did you have to go that far? He yelled at me in a voice that sounded like he was about to cry. I don't want to hear that from someone who threatened me. I really had a stomach ache from laughing so hard. Besides, I said I wanted to leave it clean, didn't I? That's not what clean means. It's the ultimate clean. It's brand new. My husband clicked his tongue repeatedly. Anyway, you come and talk. I have nothing to talk to you about. If you refuse, I won't stamp the divorce papers. You said you'd divorce me if I refused to leave that house, didn't you? What a turnaround. Shut up. Well then, I'll go to your house for now. But I'm scared to go alone, so I'll bring someone with me. With that, I contacted my brother. Is it my turn? Let's go. My reliable brother. Thank you all for gathering here today, and so on. My sister-in-law's husband, whom I hadn't seen since our wedding ceremony, started speaking as if it were a wedding ceremony. He seemed like a weak-willed man. Myself, my brother, my husband, my sister-in-law and her husband sat around the table in my husband's new home in a circle. The child was in the next room as expected. But even so, the scene in that room was spectacular. My sister-in-law came here triumphantly, but when she saw the vacant lot where her house used to be, she was stunned. But she had already cancelled her apartment lease and couldn't go back. So she hastily moved her belongings into the new house that my husband was supposed to move into. As a result, there were 2 of everything, 2 cupboards, 2 tables, and the space was incredibly cramped. Having 2 of everything was creepy. Why would you demolish it? Isn't that too much of a provocation against me? That's right. Is this some kind of provocation? There's a limit to being mean. My brother and sister yelled at each other. I laughed. The land and house were inherited by me. It originally belonged to my grandfather, so I can do whatever I want with it. Huh? My husband flinched. My brother helped me. In other words, my sister inherited that land and house. So it's her personal property and doesn't become part of your shared property with her. In other words, you don't have the right to decide to give it to your sister in the first place. Huh? What? Both my sister-in-law and husband were taken aback by this unexpected development. If you had told me that earlier. Are you blaming me? If she's being threatened with divorce by her husband and being ignored by her sister-in-law, she can't say anything. My brother said it for me. So, I decided to demolish that house and sell the land because it's too big for me to live alone after the divorce. Yes, the day after I was threatened with divorce, I called 2 places. One was my brother, and the other was a demolition contractor. They told me it would take 10 days to demolish the house. It takes my sister-in-law 2 hours to get here, 4 hours round trip. If she doesn't have much time to prepare for the move, she won't be able to come because she'll be busy packing. The same goes for my husband, who moved into a new building near my sister-in-law's apartment. So when I actually moved, I was able to make a big counterattack by turning it into a vacant lot. Stop it. We lost our house, you know? And we had to pay for moving twice because we had to move into your brother's house for now since our house was gone. I don't care. You could have been sued for trespassing on my property without permission, couldn't you? You're lucky you didn't become a criminal because it became a vacant lot. I laughed at her. And then to my husband. Is a woman who talks about such small amounts of money straightforward? Don't make me laugh. My brother said. Ignoring is not straightforward, it's damp. My sister-in-law's husband, who had been silent all along, interjected. Sister-in-laws, so, you're saying that this discussion progressed without your sister-in-law's permission? That's right. Besides, my sister-in-law told me to shut up, and my husband threatened me, so they were both getting carried away on their own. I exposed them. Then, my sister-in-law's husband, who had seemed timid until a moment ago, started to tremble. Sister-in-laws, hey, what do you mean? What's wrong? She probably hadn't seen him get so angry before. My sister-in-law was clearly flustered. Sister-in-law. My sister-in-law's husband continued. Sister-in-laws, she told me that we were going to get your brother's house and move. She said if you refuse, we'll get divorced. What? All siblings said similar things. I thought I was going to have a stomach ache from laughing so hard. This is definitely going to be muscle pain tomorrow. Sister-in-laws, but I'm a home-based SE, so I can live anywhere, and I thought it would be pitiful for our child if her mother wasn't there, so I allowed it. But now that it's come to this, she's too selfish and I think it's bad for our child. And as you pointed out, my sister-in-law's husband took a breath before telling my sister-in-law. Sister-in-laws, what you said was a threatening thought. And finally, sister-in-laws, we're done too. I'll protect and raise our child. I'll take your threat as a proposal. He said. Well then, let me say it again. I also gave my husband a final blow. I accept that as a proposal. We're really over now. Goodbye. Wait. If the house is gone, the situation has changed. That's right. It's strange to cut off unilaterally when the situation has changed. The siblings started screaming together. My sister-in-law's husband and I waved our hands together. Sister-in-laws, you created this strange situation on your own, got carried away, and now it's just back to normal. My sister-in-law's husband said. So, what happened in the end was that my sister-in-law's husband and I each hired a lawyer and we each went through mediation divorce. It seems that my sister-in-law's husband got custody of the child and the newly built house that my sister-in-law built. My sister-in-law, who was extravagant and went out to Chinatown once every 3 months. Her child seemed to have been lonely because she left the child alone even on weekends. The father started to take care of the child because he became a single parent, and the child was better off this way. The child seems to be saying that is happy because her father is there for her. The reason why the new house was given to my sister-in-law's ex-husband is because my sister-in-law did not have enough income to pay the loan. It's amazing that she can go to Chinatown once every 3 months and spend money extravagantly with such a lack of income. In the end, her spending habits did not change and I heard that she is in debt. The motorcycle garage is going to be demolished and the layout will be changed a little to make it a parking lot. As for my ex-husband, he had been working together until now, so he didn't have enough money to invest in Harley after being kicked out of my house. He was taken a lot in the property division and had to let go of his Harley. He lost his hobby by losing his Harley, lashed out at his lawyer, became desperate in life and started drinking heavily. I turned the site of the house I demolished into a parking lot. Because it's close to Chinatown, I was able to charge a high parking fee and get a regular income from it. With that as my capital, I ended up buying an apartment. It's a one-person apartment, so the layout is small, but it's comfortable because of that. I sat down in front of the big screen TV with a grin on my face. Today is the day 24 is broadcast on TV. The moment when I can watch it without being disturbed by anyone with a beer in hand is the best. I've already taken a bath, so it's the strongest set of no makeup, pajamas, beer, big screen, and a 24. I set up some cheese snacks, buried myself in the sofa and pressed the button on the TV remote control.